death. We gas ourselves up, but we short on breath. Talking about we eating, but who we really cooking. Dreaming about greens, but ain't nobody looking. No land, no acres, no seeds in the ground. When the hunger hits, who's gonna be around? We starving every day, and it just ain't the food. Feeding the hood garbage, got 'em acting a fool. We flossing with rides, stunting with chains, but these bars we spitting just bring more pain. We guilty as hell, preaching all these lies, selling debt to the kids, and we acting surprised. We commercialize the pain, broadcast the grief, tell the youth to hustle, but hide the beef. We glorify the trap, invite them to the flames, just like Reagan brought the crack on planes. Back in the 80s when the streets got soaked, my people, my brothers, all got choked. Reagan said no trades, but we know the deal. He left us in the dirt, man, that shit was real. I was just a shorty watching it unfold, old enough to see how we got sold. War on drugs, but it was war on us. Cops on our necks, no love, no trust. They labeled us thugs, beast on the block, made us kiss the pavement while they cleaned our clock. Prison became business thanks to Reagan's game. Free labor is the truth in America's name. Slavery's dead, man. That's just a word. Read the 13th Amendment, it's still absurd. They lock us in cages, serving time for life. Double digits for wisdom, cutting sharp like a knife. I'm here to say, the chains in the air, it's time we break free, start showing we care. No more flexing for nothing, no more selling out. It's time to rise up, time to end the drought.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You already know how I start independent music. And this morning I got something new for y'all. Raspberry High Tea by Shane O'Hara. I think that is his last name, is O'Hara. And we'll be right back right after this.
You're in a white tee, soaking and sipping on a raspberry high tea. Quick smoke session, and I'm fighting the urge to not approach you. My mind is going 90 miles an hour, and it's frightening the amount of power you have over me, and I can't control it. No, I can't control it. Oh baby, I'm so jealous of your sunscreen, 'cause of how close it's touching all of you, and I don't know what to do. I think your body would be better with me on it, touching, loving, sexing all up on it. And I don't care if you wanna flaunt it, just let me have more than just to want it. I think your body would be better with me on it, no second guessing. We started something honest, and I don't care what they say when they watch it. No, just stay right here, don't call it off yet. You said you were on a swim team when you were in college. Your body was everybody's pipe dream, and you still look like a goddess. And I scream every time I lose a chance to be next to you. I think your body would be better with me on it, touching, loving, sexing all up on it. And I don't care if you wanna flaunt it, just let me have more than just to want it. I think your body would be better with me on it, no second guessing. We started something honest, and I don't care what they say when they watch it. No, just stay right here, don't call it off yet. No talking, just you close to me. Slow it down, let it be what it be. Stay right here, don't let go yet. We're not done, not finished yet. I think your body would be better with me on it, touching, loving, sexing all up on it. And I don't care if you wanna flaunt it, just
high tea. I want to start today's show off that there's something that deserves public scrutiny, and that is Minnesota's use of public resources to accommodate Sharia-compliant financing and targeted economic and development programs. Let's be clear from the beginning. This isn't about attacking Muslims. It isn't about attacking immigrants. And it is about telling somebody what religion they can practice. Freedom of religion isn't an American principle, but the government spending is everybody's business. When taxpayer dollars are involved, taxpayers have every right to ask questions. According to the report about Minnesota's housing and economic development programs, Minneapolis has operated a financing program designed to accommodate Islamic prohibitions against interest since 2007. Minnesota has also offered housing assistance that can be paired with Sharia-compliant financing providers. One model being discussed is Maraba. I think that's what it's called, Maraba, where instead of charging additional interest on a mortgage, the financier purchases the property and resells it to the buyer at an agreed upon higher price. Now, supporters will say this is simply making government programs accessible to people whose religious beliefs prohibit conventional interest. Fair enough. I'll say that's fair. But here's where I start asking questions. Where's the transparency? How much taxpayer money is involved? Who qualifies? How many people are receiving assistance? What are the income requirements? What percentage of recipients are U.S. citizens? What percentage are immigrants? How many are refugees? How many are first generation home buyers? Because what's crazy to me is, and I'm not saying anything bad about any Republicans or anything like that, but a lot of this shit has already been here. And not saying that we shouldn't be talking about it, but where were the people that were making others aware? Because the way that it's being talked about in the media, you would swear that this is something that they just passed or it's new, and that ain't nowhere near the truth. And like, I don't get it. Like how, yeah, I think it's crazy, and that a lot of people don't understand this. And like I said before, and I've said it, I think since 2022, is that elections have consequences. They have consequences. Like here, listen to me, right? Elections have consequences. That's what I need people to understand. That's what I need people to understand. And it's like, how hard is it? How hard is it? How hard is it? So I wanted to, because I don't think a lot of people, like, especially you can tell by the comments, since this has come out in the news by Alpha News, and like people like Nick Shirley and others have made it, like James O'Keefe, they've made it right in front of our faces, right? And I know people are mad. I understand it, and that's the crazy thing of like, I sit back here and I think, I'm like, damn, a lot of this shit is like, people should have, I'm not saying like, I don't want to say, because it just irritates me. And it's like, we either have low voter IQs or we just vote by popularity. We just do what everybody else is doing. Because it's crazy to me of how like all these programs are being, I won't even say scrutinized, because they should all, maybe I will. I'll use the word scrutinize. Something that has been around for years and make it just seem like it's new when it's not. The same thing with the vouching law. The vouching law in Minnesota has been here for half a century, 50 years. I'm not even that old. So this was here before. This is like 1976 or earlier. because I was born in 77. And now things that were passed all the way back in the 70s, it's like our immigration law. It needs to be redid, updated. I don't care if you guys want to update it or, but what we really need to do is start all over again, because what our founders, with the Declaration of Independence and the amendments, it's like we're putting things in the context of situations that weren't even happening back in the 1700s or the 1800s. Immigration wasn't like that because we were all immigrants, except the Native Americans. Everybody else was immigrants. Everybody else. Some people just came here as colonizers. Others came here enslaved, indentured. You know, and that's what I don't understand. We always want to put a label on somebody. I always want to put a label, and that's the one thing that I don't understand. But there is other things that I understand, and it's I won't even say it's confusing because it's fucked up. Black gets put in it, especially when it comes to Black Americans. We have to share with everybody that looks Black. Doesn't matter if they're Jamaican, doesn't matter if they're Haitian, doesn't matter if they're Nigerian, Ethiopian, Somalian. If they are considered Black, we have to share with them. And then not only just share with them, but they also get their own shit, their own Somalian or East African. And so I don't understand of like how everybody, especially when it comes to the politicians, you guys want a bunch of sin. And that's not no. And I'm so tired of everybody, especially when it comes to government, trying to tie us into something that isn't right. And we know it ain't right, but yet people be silent and let it go on. Because I'm going to ask again, when will Minnesota have enough? All the shit that's came out in the last couple years, when will Minnesota finally have enough and say, fuck this? Is it going to be 20 billion? Is it going to be 40 billion? This shit's crazy. So let me talk about Murabba Explained, the cost plus sale in Islamic finance. Murabba is the most commonly used Islamic finance contract in the world. This complete guide explains exactly how it works, what the most respected Islamic finance scholar says about it, and which U.S. providers offer it, and when to choose it over. See, I don't even understand that word, but Murabba is an Arabic word derived from rib, meaning profit. Murabba contract is a cost plus profit sale in which the seller fully discloses their purchase cost to the buyer, and both parties agree on a profit margin that is added on top. The total cost plus profit becomes the final sale price, payable either immediately or in deferred installments. The Islamic finance application uses this classical trade structure to enable asset purchases without interest-bearing loans. Rather than lending you money and charging interest, an Islamic bank uses Murabba to 1. Purchase the asset you want, 2. Disclose exactly what it costs, 3. At a pre-agreed profit margin, and 4. Sell you the asset at the total price payable over time. The bank earns profit through trade, buying and reselling, and not interest on borrowed money. Murabba is the most widely deployed contract in the global Islamic finance industry. Approximately 70 to 80% of all Islamic bank transactions globally use Murabba, and it is related, or its related commodity variant. This dominance is partly because Murabba most closely replicates the economic function of a conventional loan, fixed, predictable payments, while maintaining a trade-based structure that avoids riba. The Quranic foundation Allah has permitted trade and forbidden raba. Maraba is a commerce, a sale with a disclosed profit the bank earns through trade, not through the passage of time on borrowed money. This is the fundamental distinction that makes maraba permissible, where a convenient or a conventional loan is not. And I see that what's crazy is, I'm just going to be honest, is like a lot of people, I feel like we weren't paying attention. That's nothing bad about, because I understand that people have lives, but until it started affecting people's wallets and affecting their cash flow, or, then they started to care, right? Even though a lot of this stuff has already been there for years, you know what I'm saying? Now they want to get in the uproar, and I get it. I understand it. I'm one of them people. There's like, I am one of them. There's nothing. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that because that was a big ass problem. But we have to call this what it is, and it's not people paying attention. There was so much going on, and it's still going on. And we can't come to an agreement. We can't come to no unity, because we don't see much accountability when it comes to either parties. And I think that's what the biggest problem is. Everybody, especially when it comes to the Democrats, they blame it on the Republicans. The Republicans blame it on the Democrats. Let's stop finger pointing. Let's stop. Like, what I don't understand is, like, why do we blame everybody else but ourselves? Everybody else but ourselves, because a lot of us let this shit go on for a very, very long time. I'm one of those people. But now that I know, I want to get rid of, not saying that I get rid of the people, but get rid of the ways. Because I'm telling you right now, what's happening in America today is not traditional. It's not anything about family. Because I can tell you right now, we're seeing a lot of lawless. People not act right. We're not seeing any type of accountability. So then people feel courage, because they see others can get away with it. So why not join? Why not join? Nobody really calls it out, because the people that call it out are in such short numbers. But when the people that are actually doing that and committing it gets overshadowed by all the good shit that goes on. It's always, I just don't get it. And it's like, when are we going to finally see the bigger picture and see that we seriously have a problem in America? Like, I don't get it. I just don't. It's kind of crazy to me. Hold on, because I wanted to show something. Let me go back. I wasn't there either. Why didn't I go to get that? Where did I see that at? Yeah, this Sharia law shit is getting out of hand. Show y'all. I don't know. It's been such in the news lately. You would think that somebody has at least been talking about it. I know Alpha News has.
A new documentary about the battle for the soul of Texas has hit the movie screen. The director of the new documentary, Remember the Alamo, Don't Sharia My Texas, talks about Sharia law and the clash of civilizations. Next. Chris Burgard, the director of Remember the Alamo, Don't Sharia My Texas, is my guest on the podcast. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Well, Liz, it's good to be had.
You have said before that your new documentary refuses to flinch and that it doesn't just warn, it demands action. Let's take a look.
There's no such thing as a Muslim country where children are not trafficked.
What you have right there is a clash of civilizations, not a clash of religions, a clash of civilizations.
Is Islam a religion?
It's a civilization, not a religion.
What about the Muslim Brotherhood?
This is how you can uncover all the secrets of your family that no one ever told you.
There is a platform where you can search billions.
What about Hezbollah? What about Hamas? What ties the entire global movement together is Sharia. The stated purpose of Islam is to wage jihad.
They don't apologize about jihad. They're not afraid of jihad. It's a part of who we are.
Why did you decide to take on this documentary project, especially at a time when many of our politicians and other leaders have been pretty quiet on this subject?
Living here in East Texas, there's been this huge push for Sharia law. The Islamic world has made Texas, they want to turn it into the Mecca of the West. That's how they're reporting it. And if you understand anything about Islam, and I'm not just talking about reading the Quran, that's only 17% of Islam. You need to read the Hadiths, you need to read the Surah. The Surah is Muhammad's biography. If you understand that, then you understand what Hijra is. Hijra is immigration jihad. You know, we think jihad is just fighting with swords or guns. No, jihad is also civilization jihad. It's called Hijra. And that comes from Muhammad. When he was kicked out of Mecca and with his 130 followers, he migrated into Medina, but through stealth and coercion, they were able to work tribe against tribe, get into positions of power. And by the time he died, he was the head top supreme warlord of all Arabia. So this is not an accident that what you're seeing happen in Europe, what you're seeing happen in Nigeria, what you're seeing happen in the United States. This is what Islam calls its members to do.
Now, there are some familiar names and faces in your documentary, including Lara Logan and Michael Flynn, along with decorated combat veterans and counterterrorism experts. They each have a different perspective, but they also seem very connected to the Lone Star State. They understand the dark reality also about what Sharia law could mean for Texas and the rest of America, including Minnesota, which I wanted to talk to you a bit more, Chris, about the parallels. We're home here to the largest Somali population in the country. And they seem to understand that we're no longer talking about the threat of Sharia law coming to America. I was reading recently that a mosque in Texas there was just openly talking about how, in so many ways, Sharia law is already here.
Oh, absolutely. And what you're getting is and you'll see in the movie, because it's not just, Texans that you talked about that I have in the film. You'll also see a whole bunch of imams and Islamic scholars speaking in their own voice. And it's wild. The reality for us on the ground is at Epic Center and all these other places, they're saying Sharia is here. Sharia is going to take over. We will practice Sharia. You won't stop us. And you see it manifesting in the culture. But at the same time, I'm being attacked in newspaper articles by CARE saying that, I'm just an Islamophobe, throwing propaganda, and I don't understand that Sharia is more like canon law. Well, that's complete propaganda. It's a complete lie. We're seeing the effects of Sharia law here in Texas. When your grocery stores or your liquor stores are being harassed by fellas in Mideastern garb because they sell alcohol and telling them not to sell alcohol, that's jihad. When you hear the call to prayer coming out from these small towns and going out all over, that's jihad. They're claiming the territory anywhere that you hear that. And a lot of what you see on TV, where you see all these military-aged Islamic men praying in the streets, that's not because there isn't room in the mosques. They're not doing that in Qatar. They're not doing that in UAE. They're not doing that in Pakistan. They're doing it here because they're claiming that territory. And these images are going out through the whole Islamic world, and that's why they're saying that Texas is the Mecca of the West. But when you see people from one of the hottest countries in the world, Somalia, being brought in the country and all sent to one of the coldest places in America. It's like, oh yeah, my business is doing so well in Somalia. I want to go live with the Vikings. Send me to Minnesota. This is fundamentally transforming the United States of America. That is, you're seeing it happen in action.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear that Minnesota has been a target with the Somali fraud, the terrorism recruitment that has taken place in this state over the years, the new state flag even, that looks awfully similar to the Somali flag.
Yeah, because I want to show you something all the way from 2000 and June of 14, and that is from the Atlantic. The city that offers Sharia-compliant loans to Muslim business owners. So this is 12 years ago that this was written. Somali entrepreneurs are transforming neglected neighborhoods with the help of a Minneapolis Islamic financing program. That's a lot of shit. So the Carmel Mall, I know that's something that I've talked about plenty of times. That's a Sabari. But what I want people to know is they had their hands on Minneapolis. They had their hands in the St. Paul. And then after that, they went to Hennepin, taking that over. Ramsey, taking that over. Now they're going to Anoka, Blaine, Burnsville, Rochester, St. Cloud. How do we have all these resettlement services to put people that are supposedly refugees and their country is so bad, but yet they go vacation in Somalia? That shit don't be making no sense to me. And I'm not gonna go vacation in South Central if I know that. I just don't get it. That don't make no sense to me. And then you even have people that are even on the run. And I know one guy was just caught. He was sent back to Minnesota, all the way from Somalia. But there's still more people that are on the run and who we haven't extradited. That's the word, extradited, back to Minnesota yet, because they're still over in Africa. And we don't have the slightest clue. But yet our money is just blown poof in the thin air. And a lot of people aren't mad, and I don't understand it. I don't understand how people aren't mad about the cases of cash that were going back to Somalia on planes, going back to Africa. And here's the thing that I want people to understand too, is that the money over there is not the same when it comes to the American dollar, because over there, the shillings, motherfuckers become rich. With just that little couple million, they're billionaires. They're billionaires over there. That's what I want people to understand, how much, y'all ain't mad enough. I don't get it. Y'all are not mad enough, because here's the thing. This is not new. This happened because we weren't paying attention. This happened because we weren't paying attention, and we're divided. And we're divided for a reason. There's all these isms. Everybody want to say shit is racist now when it's really not. Everybody wants to say you're homophobic or transphobic. We don't ever have no hard conversations, no truthful conversations. And who's paying the price? Our kids. Our kids are. Because they're seeing all this shit go on. I can tell you right now is that when I was growing up, going to elementary school, and we would watch like National Geographic, that's not the same shit I'm seeing over in Africa now. Because I can see that same shit in some of our communities. The same shit that they were telling us was a third world country. Look at Kensington, Pennsylvania. Look at all the homeless people there, the drugs. Look at the open markets. Look at the pictures that people put up on Twitter or Reddit. And it should be crazy, because I don't remember our cities, especially some cities, never looking like that. But now it's like it's okay. Like it's like that's the okay thing to do. And it's like, why did we become such a state where our values and our morals and our ethics don't matter anything anymore? All that matters is popularity, cash. The truth doesn't, because every time the truth is told, people get scared of it. Just like the same thing going on with Steve Simon and the Secretary of State shit, when James O'Keefe and a whole bunch of independent, I shouldn't say a whole bunch because I think it was like 5 of them, came in here and was literally trying to, I won't say try, because I don't think they're in their plan was never to vote. Because when you vote, that's illegal. So I don't think that was their plan, but their plan was to show how our 50-year-old vouching law doesn't work anymore. And we need to fix that. So this isn't something that was just new, like 2023. No, this is something that's been going on for 50 years. So then we got to wonder why our state is the way that it is. Because when people are allowed to cheat and it's accepted, that's what I don't get. And it's like, people are really, to me, it's like, it's sad. It's sad as hell, right? Since 2006, Minneapolis has loaned, this since 2014, so 8 years, over $1 million to Muslim businesses, owners through a program that complies with Sharia law, which prohibits Muslims from paying or earning interest in a financial transaction. The program, which is operating in partnership with the African Development Center, makes Minneapolis the only city in the country to offer Islamic financing at a time when states are trying to ban Sharia from the courts. Minneapolis is a very welcoming city, says Christian Guild, the city's business development manager, because Somali immigrants wear headscarves. They are visible as entrepreneurs, and people see that they are setting up businesses in our town and creating jobs. Minnesota is home of, this is 12 years ago, 2014, an estimated 32,000. Now they're saying we have 80. And even probably could be a higher number, because I'm sure they're way off on that number because of how many people crossed the borders when Biden just was allowing them to. So, yeah, I'm going to go back to Alpha News and Liz Collins' report, because to be honest, people need to see this. And you need to understand that this isn't new. This isn't something that has happened after George Floyd, because this is way before him. This happened way before George. So let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about how this has been here. And it really wasn't an issue until 25, 26, when honestly it should have been a problem a long time ago. Our Republican legislators should have, here's the thing, because I always hear that, well, their hands were tied. We had a trifecta. Shut up. Y'all had the bully pulpit. Y'all don't ever want to talk about that. The bully pulpit. Because our Republicans in Minnesota are cowards. I'm just going to come out and say it. They're cowards. They wouldn't bust a grape in a food fight. And these are the motherfuckers that believe in the Second Amendment and are some bitches. Some bitches, because we've given our state up to motherfuckers that don't even have American values, American morals. And people are going to say, oh, he's exposed. Nigga, I'm not. Shut the fuck up talking to me about that. I'm a hateful of anything. Nigga, I tell the truth. If you don't like it, shut your bitch ass up. Because all I do is tell the truth. And everybody want to say hateful. Oh, you're transphobic. You're homophobic. No. So how was that shit? Some of this shit, like with drag shows and with transgenders, how like 20 years ago, that shit was inappropriate. Now all of a sudden it's appropriate. Get the fuck out of here, man. That don't make no sense. Even with the conversation over, I can't believe we having a fucking conversation about what a woman is. What a woman is. Because we have all these things. A birthing person. The fuck out of here. Y'all are pussy. Even when it comes to our state flag. Even when it comes to our state flag. That's why I was so behind Phil Parrish, and I'm still behind Phil Parrish. I know something probably either today or tomorrow, something's going to come out, because I know, I won't go into it or whatever, but I know listening to Lindell that he was either going to be today or tomorrow, that he was going to come out with it, with the anomalies and the whole like kind of report about the primary election and what it needs to be, because even you look in CD5, Omar, that 122,000, go back and look at the other primaries. She ain't never had that many votes. Never. But all of a sudden, come on, man. And then y'all expecting, and nothing against John Nagel, right? Good job of winning the primary. But look at how many people were voted in the Republican primary in CD5 versus the Democratic. And then you're, yeah, it's a wrap. If we keep on allowing these people to steal, isn't that the whole thing of what the Boston Tea Party was about? Taxation without representation? When are y'all gonna stand up? Y'all keep on, here's even me, I pay taxes. I'm getting pissed. I'm getting pissed. Pissed. Because yet every year, motherfuckers keep on asking for more money. But yet our communities get worse. How to make that make sense to me? That doesn't make any kind of fucking sense, even when it comes to Heritage Park. That's because too many motherfuckers in Minneapolis weren't back in here in the 90s. So they don't remember Sumner projects. They don't remember the Holloman lawsuit. They don't remember MPHA had a consent decree ever before our police department did. But because we have so many motherfuckers in leadership roles who weren't here in Minnesota at that time. They were either in Boston, Chicago, Virginia, Detroit. Nowhere near Minnesota, though. And yet, that's who our leadership is. Even our governor, somebody that was born in Nebraska. Born in Nebraska. And yet, he's our governor. And then we have to wonder why we have no Minnesota values have gone out the door. Because Walls doesn't know about Minnesota values. He doesn't know what Minnesota nice means. Because Minnesota nice, I used to know it was always funny because, I won't say funny or whatever, but like when I went up north to my grandparents in Black Duck, Minnesota, it was like literally me and my sister were the only Black people in besides the natives. And maybe some Mexicans were up there too, but it was like that was it. But yet they didn't treat us any differently, the white people. And I don't know, maybe because they were scared of my grandpa or whatever it was, but they treated me just like any other kid. They didn't care about my skin color. Didn't matter if it was the baseball team or going to the Dollar Theater on the weekends. Nobody cared about color. All we cared about was playing with each other, was socializing, making sure that everybody was all right. What happened to that? We don't have that value anymore. We don't have that ethic. And it just drives me crazy because everybody will say, oh, we were never like that. Shut your bitch ass up. You weren't even from Minnesota. How the fuck you gonna know? That's even like with the AK shit, like AK Kamara. He's an African. His daddy from Sierra Leone. His only tribute to connection to America is his fucking mama. And then enough people don't even look at that shit because they want to talk about immigration. Well, let's talk about immigration. Because I can tell you right now, if you go back in the AK's past, right, and look at how his daddy came over here, right, and then got the white girl pregnant, had a family, blah, 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 blah. But I can guarantee you, the only reason that nigga came over on a student visa a student visa. And yet that's our leadership in Minnesota. It's an African. So I don't want to hear shit from Republicans. Because y'all talk about Somalis, but then don't even talk about their own Africans in our own fucking party. And I said yeah, because even though I call myself conservative, yeah, only way I can vote in Minnesota is Republican, but I'm damn sure not going to vote for Lisa DeMuth. I'll go a write-in candidate or independent. I'm not going to vote for that bitch. I'm not. Excuse my language, and I don't mean to call her that, but I'm not going to vote for that bitch. And I mean that. I'm not. I will not vote for Lisa DeMuth. I won't vote for Amy Klobuchar. I won't vote for Michelle Tafoya. I'm not going to vote for people that are not from fucking Minnesota. And just because that bitch black, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. That bitch don't know anything about being black. I didn't even know the bitch was black until she became Speaker of the fucking House. I just thought she was probably Native American or Mexican or something. I never knew she was black. So it's like, I hate that shit. And now they want to talk about the first black woman this, the first black woman that. Shut the fuck up. The bitch wasn't black until 2 years ago. Until y'all made it an identity politic issue. Tired of that shit. It's like, and then motherfuckers can't even look in the mirror. Because, yeah, there ain't no difference between a Republican and a Democrat. Motherfuckers are still the same. Same coin. You're just flipping the side, man. There ain't no difference. And it just bothers me. It's like people don't want to stand up. It's like, what are y'all afraid of? Y'all just ain't had enough. That's what I just come from a different background. I just come from a different background. That's it. Because I came from nothing. I came from nothing. From nothing. I didn't have no parents with money. Like my mom was poor. My mom worked 2 jobs just so she didn't have to be on the county, just so she didn't have to get food stamps. She worked 2 jobs. But yet, me and my brother and sister weren't all running around like fucking in Minneapolis like this, like how they do now. Because then there was accountability. Because if we knew if we fucked up and mama heard about it, it was belt to ass. Belt to ass. Nowadays, you got the kids beating up the parents. Shit just be ridiculous. It's like, what happened to accountability? What happened to accountability? And why is that word so fucking watered down? Excuse my language. But why is that word so watered down? We don't even know what justice and accountability looks like, even when it comes to transparency. Because they're not transparent with us, not in the least. There's so many things that they don't even tell us that go on behind closed doors that we don't even know, but yet we support these people because we think they have our best interest at heart when they really don't. When they really don't. So let me get back to Liz Collins' report.
But in Remember the Alamo, you talk about the clash of civilizations that is taking place. And Minnesota, in fact, is even mentioned in your documentary. But just more so, why is it that every American really needs to pay attention?
Because as you see with, there's Somalians from Minnesota that say this in the movie, that they would much rather be following Sharia law than constitutional law. Sharia law is a set of medieval rules that hasn't changed since 632 that governs every movement and every aspect of a Muslim's life. Now, it's not, we think of Islam as a religion. So we're thinking, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. This is America. We have freedom of religion. Islam is not a religion. And if your audience gets one thing from this interview, it's this. Islam is not a religion. It's a civilization. It's an oppressive political system with the rules for controlling everything. And those rules is Sharia law. So you can't have Sharia law and constitutional law in the same civilization. That's why when CARE tried to put Sharia law in my daughter's school, in the school district 11 years ago, the entire town came together, liberals and conservatives, because they realized if they come in and say that you can't draw baby Jesus or you can't draw Muhammad, that you've taken away their First Amendment rights. Then we are no longer the United States under constitutional law. We're living under Sharia law. And you can't have that. And that's where the line in the sand is. I didn't make an anti-Muslim movie. I made an anti-Sharia law movie. I had my life saved in Africa 23 years ago by a young Muslim ranger, Abdi. I would go anywhere to help that man. But he's not in Texas or Minnesota saying that if my daughter doesn't cover up, she can be raped. She's not out here saying that we have to have halal food in our public schools. It's Sharia law. It's the enemy of the Constitution.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account.
That shit the fucking truth. And the crazy part is a lot of people just don't want to hear it. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth. Because I can tell you right now, you're not going to Africa or Jamaica or even Haiti, and they're going to make all kind of amendments and ordinances, and we're just going to transfer to make sure that we just welcome everybody. Yeah, well, you can still be welcoming and not have to go. How are we going under? That shit don't even make no sense. We're supposed to be separate from church and state. I don't see that anymore. I don't see no separation at all from the state and church anymore. So why are people not standing up? Why are people not standing up? That's the crazy part to me.
Elected officials are taking action, pushing back. You have Florida Governor Ron DeSantis recently signing a law banning Sharia law from being enforced anywhere in the state of Florida. As far as I could find, Texas, they've banned Sharia compounds. But what else should elected officials and citizens be doing to push back on this? What's your advice there?
Well, right. But again, and sorry, Liz, this is us being deceived. The governor sent Kent Paxton, you're talking about the Epic Center, East Plano Islamic Center. They wanted to make a Sharia exclusive community to build a whole town just for Muslims. And the governor had Ken Paxton shut that down. But then a liberal judge came in 2 weeks ago and reversed that. So now they're moving forward with it. And in the movie, you see there's a guy named Yasser Qadi. He's what intelligence experts say. They believe he's one of the top Muslim Brotherhood strategists in the U.S. He's laughing, saying, they're not going to stop us. We will build this because we just put our lobbyists to work. Basically, he's saying that America and Texas are for sale and they own the politicians, which is something everybody needs to look at because he's right. These guys spend a lot of money on politicians and lobbying groups. So you have to ask yourself, your politicians who took an oath to defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, if their actions, if their policies, if their legislation is supporting Sharia and going against the American people and against the Constitution, they're in violation of their oath. And that's grounds for immediate termination. They can never run for public office again. So that's something I look at because you have Keith Ellison out there, and he made a big deal, I remember years ago, because he took his oath on the Quran, and it was Jefferson's Quran, and that's why Islam has been a part of America for 200 and back then it was 40 some years. That's an absolute lie. The Quran that Jefferson had is so he could know his enemy, because Jefferson committed us to our first foreign war, which was a war against Islam, the Barbary pirates. Halls of Montezuma, Shores of Tripoli, Marines, Leathernecks. That was a very expensive war. We were in it for 30 years. And when he went to the head of the caliphate and said, why are you attacking our innocent sailors? And he wrote a letter back saying, because Allah commands us to do it. You are kafir. You are non-believers. And Jefferson said, if we didn't win this, our first foreign war, it would be the last war that would come to our shores. And that's kind of prophetic, unfortunately, now. The Muslim Brotherhood has declared war on us, and we've just been asleep.
So I want to talk about the feedback to your film. You mentioned it earlier, but mainstream media, they don't seem to be fans. They're pushing back on your documentary. Just one review they called Remember the Alamo, Don't Sharia My Texas, a controversial far-right documentary film that uses the Battle of the Alamo as a central symbol to push an anti-Sharia law narrative. Around here, being called controversial, kind of like winning a prize in some ways. So congratulations to you, sir. But What have you heard in terms of more legitimate feedback about your documentary? I know your last project, what really happened on January 6th, that's The War on Truth. That documentary, that led to a visit from law enforcement. So how's it going this time around?
We've had 2 major reviews, and one was the Dallas Daily Express, and it was an amazing review. It was phenomenal. They were there at the premiere. And then it's like you say, it's kind of a badge of courage when you get attacked like the San Antonio Current did. It's amazing. They call me, they don't, not only call me an extremist, they go on to insinuate that I'm a dangerous far-right extremist and no one should watch this movie because it's a dangerous movie. And the latest hit piece that they did on us, it's interesting. They don't interview me. They don't interview the producer of the movie, but yet they go to a political professor at George Washington University and they go to the head of CARE in Houston. And it is such a piece of propaganda to keep people from not seeing the film, and it supports the mission the Muslim Brotherhood has to take down America, because it says in that mission statement we need to use their own miserable hands, meaning get people in America to fight for us. That I actually am titling the article, San Antonio Current, shoddy journalism or treason, because the article supports the mission of the Muslim Brotherhood, and this is very dangerous.
Certainly something we can relate to. We had a writer here in Minnesota talk about, I think the headline was, I watched The Fall of Minneapolis, so you don't have to. But that certainly seems to say something. If they don't want you to watch your work, that's a good thing. So again, we say congratulations, Chris.
And then I wouldn't even call that person a journalist, because Thomas Jefferson said that that a free and independent press was the 4th branch of government, that an engaged citizenry had to have a free discussion of issues in order to stay a free republic. So what they did to you there is shutting down any dialogue. Don't go see this movie. There's nothing in here. Move on. When a good journalist would say, here's the truth, here's my opinion, now check it out for yourself. So it's if you understand 5th generation warfare, and I suggest everybody read General Flynn and Boone Cutler's book, Citizen's Handbook to 5th Generation Warfare, you understand how operatives work, you understand how propaganda works, and if you follow them.
I've never heard of those books, but that is definitely, I think people need to go check out. Is like they have the role of the church, Citizen's Guide to 5th Generation Warfare, how to fight artificial intelligence, 5G. Yeah, and I know people have been talking about the 5G shit for a minute now, because my mom just said that she was in an area not too long ago, and 6 was already starting to come up on her phone or whatever. I was like, damn, already? So shit's coming. People either got to be prepared for it, or it's going to run you over and you're going to get left behind.
Money, you'll start to understand why these media outlets, why these universities have taken the positions they've taken, and why you were so dangerous to them.
Well, good news here. I understand some screenings for Minnesota could possibly be in the works, so we will keep folks updated on that and stay tuned. But for now, people can buy and watch the film online. It's available now at rememberthealamomovie.com. Again, that's rememberthealamomovie.com. But Chris Burgard, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's kind of, I have to go check that movie out. But it's crazy to me. It's like, why don't people honestly see it? Like, is it that hard? Is it too hard to see it, or they don't want to see it? Because a lot of this shit has been here. I mean, so I want to talk about Minnesota programs for disadvantaged communities, small businesses, first-generation homebuyers in economically distressed areas. Minnesota offers a range of state and local programs to support economically disadvantaged communities. I already said that. First-generation home buyers community down payment assistance fund. This program provides up to 10% of a home's purchase price, capped at $32,000 as a zero-interest loan, forgiven over 5 years if the home is lived in as a primary residence. Eligibility: first-time home buyers in Minnesota, 1 to 2 unit homes with purchase prices $515,000 for Metro 1 unit homes. Requirements: complete an approved home buyers education workshop, get pre-approved for a fixed mortgage rate, a fixed rate mortgage, and apply through the program's portal. Scope: available statewide, including economically distressed areas. Number 2, and we've already we talked about this before. I think KSTP's talked about it, and it's good to see like the news talking about it. But once again, I'm going to say, welcome to the party, but you're late. People were talking about this shit all the way back in 2023, 2024, and because they weren't listening to the messengers, they weren't receiving the message. So, like I said, and I've said this plenty of times before, you can lead a person to water, but you can't make them drink. So, again, this is during the trifecta of the Promise Act. Funds $86.4 million in grants and $28 million in loans for small businesses and designated disadvantaged communities. Grant use, payroll, rent, mortgage, utilities, equipment, loan use, site acquisition, construction, infrastructure, landscaping, eligibility, grants, $75K annual revenue, 2021 tax year, loans, $1 million annual revenue, geographic focus, Twin Cities areas like North and South Minneapolis, University, Midway St. Paul, East Side, plus Greater Minnesota, administrated by Neighborhood Development Center. Now, this is one thing that KSTP had brought up. And I didn't know who was getting the money, but I understood that, like, depending on the grant, people got I won't call it a kickback. I think that's what I used to call it or whatever, but they get a payment for taking care of that. So I think out of this, they were able to hold like $7 million or $10 million. So yeah, that's a plus for them. And one thing that we consistently see is them type of grants, them type of loans. We don't get transparency, we don't get truth. Community development funding, DEED, provides state financial assistance for housing, infrastructure, and commercial projects in communities statewide. Small cities development program, housing, public infrastructure, commercial rehab, special appropriations program for legislative designated programs. Now, I want people to hold on for a minute, right? And I want people to think about this. Added into this, there was over $1.1 billion in direct allocations for nonprofits in Minnesota as well. We always forget about that. We always forget about that. 1.1 billion. So why is Minnesota still looking shitty? $1.1 billion wasn't enough. Like, that shit's wild to me. It wasn't enough. Like, so you tell me, $1.1 billion, 2023. But a lot of those programs are already here. They're already being taken advantage of. All they did was just put more money in the bank for them. More money they could put in their pockets, more money for them to go on vacations, more money for them to buy cars, houses, clothes, jewelry, gold teeth. But yet our communities still look like shit. We still have so many condemned units. We have properties like Heritage Park or the one in Brooklyn Park. I forget the name of it. Huntington Park. It was shitty. Run down. Like, come on. We shouldn't even have buildings like that. Not with all the money that has been given out. So I'm going to say it again. All money isn't good money. All money isn't good money. Because we're not getting no bang for our buck off 1.1 billion. I mean, motherfuckers got some backpacks, motherfuckers got some free hot dogs, free hamburgers, expired cookies, stale juice. Because I did hear that a lot in 2024 when we were doing an Operation Hug the Block. It's right before my stroke. Yeah, we be like, hey, you guys got some more stale cookies and expired cookies and stale junk? What the fuck are you talking about? Don't pass out that shit. And they said, oh, them people in the t-shirts. Oh, yeah. I said, we're not one of them. We don't fuck with them like that. That's the people who always say that they're not getting paid from the city or the state, but yet they are. Should be tripping me out. People talk, oh, you pocket watching ass nigga. What's that? What do you mean? You're getting tax money, motherfucker. You ain't doing it yourself. Now, if you were, here's the thing, what I want motherfuckers to understand. If it was a for-profit and I'm sitting here talking about a motherfucker pockets, that's jealousy. That's jealousy. But when there is cracks or even loopholes in our system and you're getting taxpayer funded money, fuck you mean? It is my business, nigga. The fuck you mean? You're getting taxpayer dollars. How is it that the whole state of Minnesota's issue? We're funding you. So while people keep on talking about, oh, we some self-made ass niggas, no, you're not. Because without that grant money, y'all wouldn't be doing this shit. You don't spend your own money. That's what sets us apart. That's what set us apart. Back in when the babies all got shot in that, Anaya, Davion, Trinity. I didn't see BLM out there with us. And them motherfuckers are getting paid by the city and state. We put our own money in that. Our own. You know what's crazy is? Between me and Marcus that year, 2021, that summer, we probably, between us, we spent over 50 grand. Alamar. Out of our own pocket. We got donations, but a lot of that money was out of our pocket, drug money, especially for me, because that's what I had saved up, was drug money. And some of that, I didn't get no PPP loan. I didn't sit here and get grants. No, everything that I self-made, nigga. And I was giving it back. See, that's what, we don't have that shit no more. You don't out here talking about people talking about they taking care of the community. Shut up. We don't have none of them people no more. Motherfuckers be lying. Be straight up, they be lying. Because you look at these businesses, right? Everything that these people call self-made men, look at where they got their money. Because it was either community action partnership or it was the emerging entrepreneur loan program. People were buying new houses because they never owned a house before. So they're first generation home buyers, right? So they got assistance. See, here's the thing of it is, not only did they get assistance, but then they would use their little salaries that they were getting, their little grants, whatever, and buying their properties. Nobody called that out because they were all doing the shit. Nobody said, everybody's looking the other direction. But there was people that called it out. You know the problem with them is that all the people they were calling out were calling them the problem. When actually happening is that a person was trying to solve the problem and not make it more of a problem, was calling people out. And because there's so many of them, and just one of me, or maybe Robert, there's only two of us. And that's why when Phil Parrish, that's what really patched us all up. And I had a long talk with Robert about Philip Parrish. Because me and Philip Parrish have history. When I was on BLM, and it came down to January 6th, when it came down to all the other shit, Phil did a podcast on Red Wing at the time. And there was a lot of shit. But me and Robert talked. And I said, yo, I trust you. So you tell me that you trust Phil? Because at the end of the day, I trust you with my life. I trust you with my family's life. And you ain't never steered me wrong. But yet the other people have. So you tell me that Philip Parrish is cool? I'm good. I don't need to trust Phil because I trust Robert. And now that I trust Phil, see, that's what got me into even being okay with Mike Lindell, because that was Philip Parrish. Because I trust Phil. That's why I was behind Lindell. So there was no reason for me not to trust any other situation when it came to being behind Phil and then to coming being behind Lindell, because the people that I trusted with my life, who have never steered me wrong, who have never lied to my motherfucking face, and who actually is trying to help me get rid of this establishment that is on both sides of the party. Doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. Because they're no, everybody wants to say that they're different. You tell me how the fuck they're different. Yeah, maybe some don't believe in abortion. Maybe some do. But I bet you this, when it comes down to immigration, I bet most of you motherfuckers believe in the same shit, because none of y'all call yourselves conservatives. But all these Minnesota Republicans did when Operation Metro Surge came, they wanted a pause. They wanted a pause because of the violence. Because of the violence. That their comrades, their people that they work with on the other side of the aisle were in signal groups of trying to impede and interfere with federal operations. So that's why you seen Renee Good. That's why she thought it was okay. Yeah, that's why you got shot in your face. Because y'all think this shit's a game. It's not. That's why Renee Good got killed. Because she thought this shit was a game. It's not a fucking game. Same thing with Alex Pretty. Y'all think this shit's a game. That's the only reason why he felt comfortable being strapped and fighting and conveying whatever you want to talk about with federal enforcement. But you're armed and you expect them not to shoot. They don't know what you're going to do with that gun. Like, that should be crazy to me. But then yet y'all don't say shit when it happens to the community. When babies are just eating McDonald's in the back seat, are jumping off trampolines. Y'all ain't around BLM, NAACP. The only time these motherfuckers ever come around is when the cameras are out. When the cameras. Not when we need them, but when the cameras are there. That's why I said, fuck all this media shit and all these nonprofits. Fuck that. We are the grassroots. We're the new media. I don't see, here's the thing, I'm going to tell you right now, because even what I'm about to talk about next, just have to look at these programs and to know that they've been around for years. This isn't new. But we haven't checked it. We haven't, because we keep on electing the same ass people. So what else do we expect? Craziness. You can't expect anything else if you're voting the same way or even voting for the same people. Because I can tell you right now, even like Walter Hudson, Pam Altendorf, oh, I need money, I need this, I need that. But never get us no motherfucking results. Talk all kind of shit about election integrity, but yet back down when it came to Brad Tabke. Because the rest of her supposed colleagues, Republican colleagues, they didn't believe that. They didn't believe that there was anything wrong with that election because they signed a power sharing agreement that seated Tabke. Even though there was problems with that election. Even though there was problems with that election. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Republicans have no backbone, no spine. They fold, they bend. That's why I don't want to be a part of the Minnesota GOP. I don't want to be MAGA either, but I'm just okay with being conservative because there's too much fuck shit going on in Minnesota. Nobody wants to call it out. Everybody wants to be buddy. And then we have to wonder why we don't ever get no change. Did y'all come here to make friends or to make a difference? Because if you came here to make friends, you in the wrong motherfucking movement, my nigga. You in the wrong motherfucking movement. This isn't about friends no more. This ain't about none of that shit. Because I can tell you right now, I don't even fuck with most of my family because of my political beliefs and my morals and values. That's why I don't fuck with most of my family, especially in Minnesota, because they're too okay with bullshit. And they don't like calling it out. Because to me, I'm gonna be honest, they're bitches. They're scared of, I don't know what motherfuckers are scared of. Actually, I do. But I'm not scared of that shit. I'm not. I've been to prison. Been in goddamn a lot of jails all across this motherfucking nation. Doesn't matter if it was in La Crosse. Didn't matter if it was in Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Cheyenne, Wyoming, Chicago, LA. I've been all over this motherfucker in jails and all kind of shit. And I can tell you this right now, that some of this shit, Minnesota probably got some of the best jails I've ever been in. Because in Wisconsin, they lock you out of your cell. I'm gonna see what else. Iowa, shit, so backwards. South Dakota, that's one of the dirtiest ass jails I've ever been in. Sioux Falls, that's forget the name of that. I think it's Minnehaha or something. But that motherfucking county sucks. It's like I wouldn't wish jail on my worst enemy. Because I know how that shit feels. I know how that shit feels. So I wouldn't wish that on nobody. Because
Willie D Live.
Willie D Live. Let me stop this for a minute. Because I want to talk about next, which I'm shocked there's not many people talking about it, is the young man who was found hanging this weekend in North Carolina. I want to put a trigger warning on this because this is some really, really sad shit. This is heartbreaking. And I want to be respectful. So I put a trigger warning on here because it is, there's some shit that you're going to see that probably nobody really should see. So if there's any kids watching or there's anybody under 18, I would advise you to get them away from their tablet or your computer or your TV, whatever you're watching me on right now. So, and I'm even saying this because I know later I'll be on Rumble and YouTube. So that's why I'm highly saying this. Trigger warning. So in North Carolina over the weekend, there was a black man found hanging from a tree. And I know we have a long, dark history when it comes to lynchings in America, especially black people do. So when I do see these stories, I want to cover them because it is important. It is important to everybody, even the family, even the police, and even when it comes to like even the Nolan Wells situation. Like families deserve answers and they deserve transparency and they deserve the truth, not a narrative or not some behind an NDA, which people don't get very much information, but the truth. And there shouldn't be nothing wrong with that. So let me get into this. But like, again, I'm going to say trigger warning. So if there's anybody under 18 watching this, really shouldn't be, because this gets pretty brutal.
We got another black man who has been found hanging from a tree. You know, just a few days ago, we talked about Gerard Jackson, who was found hanging from a tree in Michigan after he called the police to report an incident involving his friend. A few hours later, police searched around the area of the festival where they found his car, all of his belongings inside. Feel me, fam, feel me. Pick up what I'm putting down. They found all of his belongings inside, including his phone, his clothes, his phone, right? And guess what they said? Ding, 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 ding. You guessed it, fam. They said that it was a suicide. That the black man went all the way to a festival in Michigan just to hang himself. Yeah. So now we got another black man found hanging from a tree in downtown Raleigh at a festival. And that's not all. Remember, fam, a black woman was just recently found hanging from a tree. It goes on and on and on. There's so many of these type of deaths, and every single one of them have been ruled suicide. Suicide, every single time a black person is found hanging, they rule it a suicide. So ain't nobody killing nobody. Just everybody just ready to die. Everybody just killing themselves. Let me tell you something, fam. You gotta consider the historical context. And I know some of y'all be like, man, you know, if you can't prove somebody killed somebody, why would you just insinuate that it's race? Why would you even try to imply that race is involved? Did your mama do it or did your daddy do it? But somebody cheated you out of a few brain cells. It's time to face the facts, man. Stop being delusional. Stop living in denial and admit it. That there are people out there who have an inherent appetite to harm black bodies. I said it, fam. That's right, I said it. This is cold-blooded right here, fam. Let's get into this article. This is on Hip Hop Vibe. A man was found hanging from a tree in downtown Raleigh this afternoon, near the site of the annual Carrot Mask Carnival. The discovery made in the back parking lot of Whiskey Kitchen on West Martin Street has sparked widespread concern and calls for answers as the Raleigh Police Department continues its investigation. The location sits approximately 2 blocks from City Plaza, where the Caribbean Festival was underway. A photograph circulating on social media shows the man hanging from a tree with the Raleigh Fire Department crew member visible nearby. No official statement has been released by police as of Saturday evening. The man's identity, age, and cause of death remain unknown. Okay, so this is where we are, fam. We got a black man that goes missing, or he goes to a festival alive, and he ends up found hanging from a tree. Does that sound suspicious? Suspicious? How the hell did we get from one to the other? Who last saw him alive? Who was with him? Who discovered him? Where are the cameras and the witnesses? Because I know they are out there. I know they're out there. Where are the cameras and the witnesses? You ever notice how when these type of things happen, no cameras, no witnesses, yet cameras and witnesses are everywhere for everything else? Before we can get a conclusion, we need a timeline. So let's look at it like this, fam. We got law enforcement who needs to do their job. One of the first things that I want to know is, was the location immediately secured as a potential crime scene? Or did they just walk up there and say, no foul play, suicide, cut them down, put them in a bag, let's get out of here? Was surveillance footage preserved? They don't tend to preserve surveillance footage for cases like this. I wonder why. Were phones and location data examined Were all the relevant witnesses interviewed separately? We need to know that. I say investigate everybody. Right now, everybody is a suspect. Scrutinize any legitimate suspects or persons of interest. And find out really quickly, do their stories match the timeline? Because, similar to the Nolan Wells case and many other cases, when you start talking to these people who may have last seen them alive, their stories do not match. So let's find out, first and foremost, who that man was with. Who was supposed to be with him? Who did he go there with? Who did he go there to meet? Pull the pictures, pull the videos. Who was he seen with on camera? Now, remember, fam, when the dude who shot the healthcare executive, remember how fast they caught him? Remember how they just did a little dragnet and they threw the web out there, man, and they started right there on the scene, pulling photos, pulling video on the scene. And they just kept going out until they found him, till they caught up with him at McDonald's. They know how to get him when they want him. They know how to search that surveillance footage. They know how to do detective work when they want to. They pick and choose what crimes they want to solve. Did anyone change a material part of their story? We got to know that. I don't want rumors. I want receipts.
Right.
You can't ignore history, fam. For all of y'all that keep saying, oh, yeah, here we go again. Here we go again. You can't ignore history. And y'all typically don't ignore history unless that history has something to do with Black justice. Unless that history has something to do with Black folks. A Black man hanging from a tree, it carries enormous historical significance in America. Oh yeah, I know you. And Black people don't hang themselves.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Black people, that's crazy. That is not, I don't believe that, especially when it comes to the history of I don't see it. I wanted to talk about as well, this kind of made me laugh a little bit, right? So this weekend, they say it was disturbing, that it was a bad incident. I'll just say this, right? He didn't really do no damage. I'm not saying that it's right. It is wrong, right? But what can we expect when we don't have any real accountability and they feel emboldened because they know there's not going to be any consequences? Like, I don't understand that. So a lady did wake up I think her name is Leslie Larson, Blaine, woke up and there was middle fingers all over the side of her car. So this morning, Blaine police did put out a statement. They put out one yesterday that they are investigating. But update, on Monday morning, the Blaine Police Department said in a statement that after further investigation, it was determined that the incident was not related to Larson's political campaign. The incident is no longer under investigation, and is considered closed, the department said. Larson thanked the police department for its quick work on this incident. We are relieved to learn there is no threat to my family, and we consider this matter closed. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. So I did look into Leslie Larson's time, because she's running for I think representative as a Republican, but I looked into her background being on the Blaine City Council. And if you look at it, was like 3 years ago, 2023, that some community members and a person from her colleague on the council said that she was being racist. And then when you look at I hate to say it, but that's not the way I see two females, and then I don't know what that is, and I don't know if that's a man or a woman, but obviously one boy, one guy, and the rest of them are, I assume, are females. But it just to me is like, so why do they care? Like, you never cared. In the past, like they've always allowed this type of shit to go on, and it's like, when are people going to get sick of it? Like, we don't have to live like this. We don't have to. Even when it comes to this, like last night it was the last night of the and these kids were acting out of control. And I'm going to say this: where are the parents? This is the lack of no accountability and knowing that they don't have to face any type of consequences when it comes to their parents, or even when it comes to the police. Like, this should have never happened at a state fair, because Minnesota State Fair is about to open, I believe, in I think it's under 10 days. But you can definitely expect to see this type of shit at the Minnesota State Fair.
Oh shit! We go! Where'd that bitch go, shit?
Wow.
We go! Where's that?
Wow.
Fuck that! Where's my friend?
Damn.
Come on, Caroline! They running! Oh, they running! Quite running! Who is that running?
And the crazy part is to hear the girl laughing, and it's like, no wonder why people don't care, and the kids act like stupid, like idiots. But I did see this comment this morning, and I definitely congratulate him, because it's crazy of hearing or even reading from somebody from another country. I know they're only on top of us in Canada, but to see all the news that is coming out of Minnesota is crazy as hell, right? So he said, watching from Canada, this is becoming almost a comedy of the results were not so serious. Minnesota is a sad one. Everyone could learn from, and none of the adults who live there seem to care. I mean, that's what kind of like we're giving out. We're having all these incidents, and yet we're not saying anything to these kids. We're just letting them. We're letting them. So it's like, when are we going to finally stand up and say, hey, like, even I saw this. This was over a couple of days ago, over the weekend, and there's a guy shooting in Houston.
Hey!
Oh.
Stop!
Do you have eyes on the suspect?
He might be on the front porch. Yeah, he's on the front porch.
That's there. Close eyes on the suspect.
Yeah, the shots fired. 54 shots fired.
Suspect down. Do we have any officers injured? Yeah, this all went down on Houston's northeast side, and this was on Wayside Drive near St. Louis Street late morning. 3 people were hurt in that shooting as they were just driving in their cars. We have team coverage tonight on this shooting. Randy Wallace is at a nearby fire station where a mother and a daughter rushed to get help after being shot. But first, we start with McKenna Earnhardt. And McKenna, you've been out there all day long, and you even spoke with a witness.
Yeah, Caroline, this was just absolutely terrifying and chaotic for everyone involved. A man wearing not much clothing other than fishnet leggings and a cheetah headband holding a semi-automatic rifle just opened fire standing here in the median. I'm right on North Wayside Drive near St. Louis Street here in Northeast Houston. It was terrifying for everybody involved. Anybody that was out here was subject to potentially getting injured. It doesn't seem as if there was any set target in this situation. This all happened right in the middle of the day at 11 a.m. this morning. 3 cars were hit. And one, a mother and a daughter, both were shot. They actually managed to drive themselves to a nearby fire station. That's Fire Station 43, just at the end of Wayside Drive here. Another.
So yeah, it's getting crazy out here. I want to go to this real quick because they just announced this not even like a half an hour ago. But the BCA in Hennepin County is charges against 4 in a sex trafficking ring operation.
We're tracking breaking news right now at midday. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office is revealing new details on a sprawling sex trafficking scheme.
One of the 4 people charged is a former assistant attorney for Anoka County. Our Renee Cooper joining us live with these breaking developments on this years-long investigation. Renee.
Yeah, and today we're learning Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty believes there are likely many more victims than the 13 referenced in court documents, and she says there's nothing about this that was voluntary for them. Now, this is described by Moriarty and BCA Superintendent Drew Evans as a sprawling sex trafficking operation. A total of 104 charges split between 4 defendants, including allegedly promoting and profiting off of prostitution. As we've reported, one of the defendants is former Assistant Anoka Attorney Andrea Sampson. Today we learned she was actively working in that county prosecutor's office at the time this alleged trafficking operation was going on. Sampson is accused of allegedly securing the locations for that operation, as well as creating multiple so-called shell companies that allegedly appeared to be created to help hide those profits.
The 13 victims and others are victims and suffered great harm from being forced to be in the sex trafficking ring. And so I want to recognize the courage of the victims to work with the BCA and our office to help prosecute these cases.
Now, Sampson is expected in court for the first time later today, and we will continue to follow this for you throughout the day. In Minneapolis, Renee Cooper.
Yeah, Minneapolis is a trip. Hennepin County, Ramsey County, the Twin Cities is, to be honest, just a trip right now because even this weekend, 2 bodies. One was found in the Mississippi River, and another body was found in Calhoun Lake. I know it's called BDE, Maca Ska or something like that now, what they call it. But yeah, there was 2 bodies that were found in bodies of water, and it's like there's so much shit happening, and like when are we gonna finally say enough is enough and say let's take back our communities, let's take back our streets? That's why Marcus started the whole Make America massa movement, Make America streets safer again, because the streets haven't been safe for a while, and we need to make them safe again. But the police aren't going to do it. It's going to be us as a community coming together, but I don't see that happening until we get accountability. And that's the only thing that is stopping Minnesota from actually getting unity, is because we have too many leaders who don't want to be accountable, and they have too many puppets that are paid who stand in the way, called gatekeepers. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. Just remember that one thing that I wanted to share today, right, is that Sharia finance and taxpayer dollars have been something that for the last, 30, 40 years. And it's not new. We did this with the Amish. That was one of the vouching reasons. So we have to go back and look at why some of these were even passed or even allowed to be a law. And then we have to go look at how far have we came away from being America. We shouldn't have no Islamic law. We shouldn't have no Sharia. We're not that. It's not our values. It's not American. It's not what America was made off of. And I know America has a dark, dark, dark history when it comes to, especially with Black Americans. And that's not something that we should cower away from. It should be things that we're having conversation. Because the reason that all this is happening is because Black Americans and politicians, and we're not having conversation. We're not being listened to. They're listening to the gays, the queers, the LGBTQ, the white women, the Black men who won't get off the DFL plantation because they understand that if they don't leave that plantation, there goes the hand that was feeding them. There goes the party that was able to live that $200,000 salary lifestyle. So get up out of here. I'll see y'all Wednesday, same time, same place. And until then, I'm up and outie. Y'all have a good one. And we will talk about Mike Lindell. We will talk about so much more on Wednesday. So I'll see y'all soon, and y'all have a great one.
My son is gay. That don't change the Bible. No. Or my mother's gay. That don't change the Bible. Oh, no. Or my father's gay. That don't change the Bible.
When I'm done, they gon' say this man spin. Hulu warm, boy, I'm hot, get a hand man. If trans are real women, why you putting trans in it? The only trans I know about is a transmission. Why all these gay dudes talk like that? The feminine go to hell, why you walk like that? Other Christians scared to call it out, cause they soft like that. Boy, they scared to lose the money, ain't bought like that. Boy, plain in the scripture, why you twisting it? New Testament, Romans 1:26. Those that approve of it too. Paul mentioned it, living in a new Babylon, ain't no fixing it. Real Christ gang, I don't recognize no pride money. I don't recognize no pride money. Real Christ gang, I don't recognize no pride money. I don't recognize no pride money. Revelation 21, you thought he lied, you thought he lied, Real Christ gang, I don't recognize